Let me ask you a question that may quietly change the way you think about your future. If nothing changes in your daily routine, where will your life be 6 months from now? Not in 10 years. Not someday. Just 6 months. Most people underestimate what 6 months of focused effort can do, and they overestimate what waiting will fix. Time is moving whether you have a plan or not, and every day you are placing an order with life, by your habits, your choices, and your discipline. The tragedy is not that people aim too high and miss. The tragedy is that they aim too low and hit. 6 months from now, you will arrive somewhere. The question is whether you will arrive by design or by default. You don't need a miracle. You don't need luck. What you need is a decision and a direction. Because when you give life 6 months of intention, discipline, and personal growth, life has a way of giving you something extraordinary in return. If you want the next 6 months of your life to look different from the last 6 months, the first and most important step is to take full responsibility for where you are and where you are going. This is not about blaming yourself or feeling guilty about past mistakes. It is about reclaiming your power. The moment you accept responsibility, you stop being a victim of circumstances and start becoming the architect of your future. As long as you blame the economy, your family, your luck, or your past, you give away control of your life. Responsibility puts that control back in your hands. Most people wait for something to change before they change. They wait for more confidence, more money, more support, or better conditions. But life doesn't respond to waiting. It responds to decision. When you decide that the next 6 months will be different, because you will be different, everything begins to shift. You may not control everything that happens to you, but you always control how you respond. And how you respond determines the direction of your life. Taking responsibility means honestly looking at your current results without excuses. If your income is low, if your health is weak, if your discipline is inconsistent, those results did not appear by accident. They came from patterns of thinking, habits of action, and decisions repeated over time. This truth may feel uncomfortable at first, but it is also incredibly freeing. Because if your past choices created your present results, then new choices can create a new future. You are not stuck. You are simply standing in the results of old decisions. Responsibility also means understanding that no one is coming to rescue you. That may sound harsh, but it is one of the most empowering realizations a person can have. You don't need permission to improve your life. You don't need approval to raise your standards. You don't need perfect conditions to begin. What you need is the courage to say, from today onward, I am in charge. When you stop expecting others to fix your life, you start fixing it yourself. Many people confuse responsibility with burden, but responsibility is not heavy. It is clarifying. It helps you see what you can change and where you should focus your energy. Instead of wasting time complaining about things you cannot control, you begin working on what you can. Your attitude, your effort, your learning, and your consistency. That shift alone can transform the next 6 months of your life. When you accept responsibility, you also accept the discipline that comes with it. You stop saying, I'll try, and start saying, I will. You stop negotiating with your goals and start honoring your commitments. You understand that motivation comes and goes, but responsibility stays. It reminds you to act even when you don't feel like it, to stay on course, even when progress feels slow. This mindset builds self-respect. Every time you take responsibility for your actions, your confidence grows. Confidence is not something you wait for. It is something you earn by keeping promises to yourself. When you show up, do the work, and take ownership of your results, you begin to trust yourself. And when you trust yourself, your decisions become stronger and your vision becomes clearer. Over the next 6 months, responsibility will be your anchor. On good days, it will keep you focused. On difficult days, it will keep you moving. It will remind you that your life is not shaped by chance, but by choice. And when you fully embrace that truth, you no longer ask, why is this happening to me? You start asking, what can I do today to move forward? That question alone has the power to change everything. Once you accept responsibility for your life, the next essential step is deciding exactly where you are going. Without clear direction, effort becomes wasted energy. Many people are busy every day, yet they are not building anything meaningful because they have not defined a destination. Life rewards clarity. When you are clear about what you want the next 6 months to produce, your mind begins to organize your actions around that decision. Most people live with vague hopes instead of clear objectives. They say things like, I want to be successful, I want to improve my life, or I want more money. But these are wishes, not plans. Clarity demands specificity. What does success look like in 6 months? How much stronger do you want to be? How much more disciplined? How much more skilled? When you define the result, you give your effort a purpose. A clearly defined target pulls you forward, even on days when motivation is low. Clarity also forces honesty. When you write down what you truly want, you confront the gap between where you are and where you want to be. That gap is not meant to discourage you. It is meant to guide you. It tells you what skills you must learn, what habits you must change, and what distractions you must eliminate. A clear goal acts like a compass. It doesn't move the ship for you, but it keeps you from sailing in the wrong direction. The power of a 6-month time frame is that it is long enough to create meaningful change and short enough to maintain focus. When goals are too far away, people procrastinate. When they are too short, people rush and quit. 6 months creates healthy pressure. It says, this matters, and it matters now. With clarity, each day becomes connected to a larger purpose, instead of feeling random and reactive. When you are clear on your goals, decision making becomes easier. You no longer ask, should I do this or that? You ask, does this move me closer to my 6-month vision? If the answer is no, the decision is already made. Clarity eliminates confusion, and confusion is one of the biggest enemies of progress. A confused mind does nothing, but a clear mind takes action. Clarity also helps you measure progress. Without defined outcomes, you don't know whether you are winning or losing. When you know what you are aiming for, you can track your growth, adjust your approach, and stay encouraged by small improvements. Progress, even when slow, builds momentum. And momentum is one of the most powerful forces in personal development. Another benefit of clarity is focus. The modern world is full of distractions, opportunities, and noise. Without clear goals, you chase too many things and master nothing. When your goals are clear, you learn to say no to good things, so you can say yes to great things. Focus is not about doing more. It is about doing what matters most. Clarity also strengthens belief. When you can clearly see what you are working toward, your belief grows stronger, because your vision becomes real. You begin to imagine yourself living that improved life, acting with more discipline, earning better results. The mind works powerfully in the direction of what it clearly sees. A vague future produces weak effort, but a vivid future produces strong commitment. Over the next 6 months, clarity will act as your guide. It will keep you from drifting, help you recover quickly from setbacks, and give meaning to daily discipline. When you know where you are going, even difficult days feel purposeful. And when purpose drives your actions, consistent progress becomes inevitable. Once your direction is clear, the real work begins with what you do every single day. Success is not the result of one dramatic breakthrough. It is the result of small, repeated actions that seem insignificant in the moment, but become powerful over time. People often overestimate what they can do in a day, and underestimate what they can do in 6 months. Daily discipline is the quiet force that bridges that gap. Most people wait for motivation before they act, but discipline works in the opposite direction. Discipline acts first, and motivation follows. When you commit to small daily disciplines, you remove the emotional debate from your life. You stop asking, do I feel like doing this? And start asking, is this part of my plan? That shift alone can change the quality of your results. Feelings change, moods shift, but a disciplined plan keeps you moving forward regardless of how you feel. The power of small disciplines lies in consistency. Reading 10 pages a day may not feel life-changing, but over 6 months it becomes several books worth of new thinking. Saving a small amount of money daily may seem insignificant, but over time it builds security and confidence. Practicing a skill for one focused hour each day compounds into expertise. These actions do not require extraordinary talent. They require ordinary effort applied consistently. Daily discipline also builds character. Every time you keep a small promise to yourself, your self-respect grows. Confidence is not something you wait to feel. It is something you earn through consistent action. When you prove to yourself that you can follow through, your belief in your own ability strengthens. That belief then influences the level of goals you set and the standards you accept. Many people fail not because their goals are too big, but because their habits are too weak. Big goals require strong daily systems. Discipline turns goals into routines, and routines into results. When your actions are scheduled and structured, progress becomes predictable. You are no longer relying on bursts of effort, you are building a rhythm of success. There will be days when discipline feels uncomfortable. That discomfort is a sign of growth. Discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want now. It is waking up earlier than is convenient, working when it would be easier to rest, and practicing when no one is watching. The pain of discipline is temporary, but the reward of discipline lasts. The pain of neglect, on the other hand, compounds into regret. Another benefit of daily discipline is momentum. Action creates energy. When you start your day with a disciplined habit, you set a standard for the rest of the day. One productive action leads to another. Momentum reduces resistance, making it easier to stay consistent. This is why successful people protect their routines. They understand that momentum is more valuable than motivation. Discipline also simplifies life. Instead of constantly deciding what to do next, you follow a plan. This reduces mental fatigue and increases focus. When your daily disciplines are clear, you free your mind to think creatively and strategically. Discipline is not about restriction, it is about freedom. The freedom to focus on what truly matters. Over 6 months, daily discipline compounds in ways that are almost invisible at first. The progress may feel slow, but it is steady. Then one day you look back and realize that you are stronger, sharper, more confident, and more capable than before. That transformation did not come from a single moment of effort, but from hundreds of small, disciplined actions done consistently. In the end, your life does not rise to the level of your goals. It falls to the level of your daily disciplines. Choose them carefully, practice them faithfully, and let time do the rest. One of the most powerful decisions you can make in the next 6 months is to work harder on yourself than you do on anything else. Many people spend years trying to change their income without ever changing their mindset, their skills, or their character. But life rarely improves on the outside until you improve on the inside. Personal development is not an optional activity. It is the foundation of lasting success. Your results are a reflection of who you are becoming. If you want more opportunity, you must become more capable. If you want higher income, you must become more valuable. If you want greater confidence, you must develop greater competence. Success is not something you chase. It is something you attract by the person you grow into. Over the next 6 months, the greatest return on your effort will come from improving yourself. Working on yourself begins with learning. Formal education may earn you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune. Reading books, listening to meaningful talks, and studying successful people expands your thinking. When your thinking expands, your options expand. You begin to see possibilities where you once saw limitations. A changed mind creates changed behavior, and changed behavior produces changed results. Personal development also means sharpening your skills. Whatever field you are in, there is always a higher level of mastery available. 6 months of focused skill development can dramatically increase your effectiveness and confidence. Skills reduce fear. When you know what you are doing, you act with certainty. When you act with certainty, others begin to trust and follow you. Skill is one of the most practical forms of confidence. Another part of working on yourself is developing your character. Character determines how you act when no one is watching. It includes discipline, integrity, patience, and resilience. Talent may open doors, but character keeps them open. Over the next 6 months, pay attention to how you keep your promises, how you handle setbacks, and how you treat people. These small choices shape the person you are becoming. Personal development also requires reflection. If you never pause to think, you repeat the same mistakes. Taking time to reflect on your actions, decisions, and results allows you to learn faster. Reflection turns experience into wisdom. It helps you identify patterns that are helping you and patterns that are holding you back. Growth is not automatic, it is intentional. Another overlooked area of personal growth is emotional control. Life will test you. People will disappoint you. Plans will fail. Your ability to remain calm, focused, and solution-oriented during challenges is a powerful advantage. Emotional discipline allows you to respond wisely instead of reacting impulsively. Over 6 months, developing emotional strength can dramatically improve your relationships, leadership, and decision-making. Working on yourself also means raising your standards. You get what you tolerate. If you tolerate poor habits, weak effort, and negative thinking, those things become your normal. When you raise your standards, You change what you accept from yourself. This is not about perfection, it is about progress. Each time you demand a little more discipline, a little more focus, and a little more effort, you step into a higher version of yourself. The beauty of personal development is that no one can take it away from you. Money can be lost, positions can change, and circumstances can shift, but the skills, mindset, and character you build stay with you. Over the next 6 months, if you consistently invest in yourself, you will notice that your confidence increases, your decisions improve, and your opportunities expand. When you work on yourself daily, success becomes a natural outcome rather than a constant struggle. You don't need to force results, they follow your growth. And as you grow, your life rises to meet the level of the person you are becoming. Your results are not shaped by effort alone. They are shaped by the environment you live in and how you use your time within that environment. Many people have good intentions and strong goals, yet they struggle because their surroundings and daily schedules work against them. If you want the next 6 months to produce real progress, you must become intentional about what you allow around you and how you invest your time. Environment influences behavior more than most people realize. What you see, hear, and interact with every day quietly programs your thinking. If you are constantly surrounded by negativity, distractions, and low standards, even the strongest goals will slowly weaken. This is not about cutting people off harshly, it is about protecting your direction. You can care about people without allowing their habits, opinions, or limitations to shape your future. One of the most important environments to control is your mental environment. The information you consume daily becomes the raw material for your thoughts. If you fill your mind with fear, gossip, and meaningless entertainment, you will struggle to maintain focus and belief. When you deliberately choose books, talks, and conversations that encourage growth, your thinking begins to elevate. Better inputs lead to better decisions, and better decisions lead to better results. Your physical environment also matters. A cluttered space often creates a cluttered mind. When your surroundings are disorganized, your focus and energy suffer. Taking time to organize your workspace, your schedule, and even your digital environment reduces friction and increases clarity. A simple, orderly environment supports disciplined action and consistent progress. Equally important is how you manage your time. Time is the most valuable resource you have, and once it is spent, it cannot be recovered. Many people say they don't have time, but in reality, they have not decided how to use it. Time management is really decision management. Every yes to one activity is a no to another. Over the next 6 months, the quality of your decisions about time will largely determine the quality of your results. Successful people do not try to do everything. They focus on what matters most. They identify high-value activities, the actions that directly contribute to their goals, and protect time for them. This may mean waking up earlier, reducing unnecessary commitments, or limiting distractions. These choices are not easy, but they are necessary. You cannot live a focused life in a distracted schedule. Another powerful aspect of environment control is association. You become like the people you spend the most time with. Their attitudes, habits, and standards influence you more than their advice ever will. When you spend time with disciplined, growth-oriented people, their behavior raises your standards naturally. When you spend time with people who complain and settle, your ambition slowly fades. Choose associations that challenge you to grow, not ones that encourage you to stay the same. Time investment also includes rest and recovery. Discipline does not mean exhaustion. Proper rest sharpens focus and sustains long-term effort. When you manage your time well, you create balance. Periods of intense focus followed by intentional recovery. This balance allows you to stay consistent over 6 months rather than burning out after a few weeks. When you take control of your environment and your time, life becomes more intentional. You stop reacting to circumstances and start directing your days. Distractions lose their power, focus increases, and progress becomes more predictable. Over time, these small adjustments create a powerful advantage. The next 6 months will not be shaped by luck or chance. They will be shaped by what you allow around you and how you choose to spend your time. Control those 2 factors, and you control the direction of your life. No matter how strong your plan is, success over 6 months requires one final discipline: the ability to review your progress, adjust your approach, and stay committed even when results come slowly. Many people quit not because they are incapable, but because they misinterpret temporary difficulty as permanent failure. Progress is rarely a straight line. It is a process of learning, correcting, and continuing. Regular review keeps you honest. When you pause to evaluate your actions and results, you begin to see patterns. You notice which habits are producing progress, and which ones are wasting energy. Without review, you drift. Days turn into weeks, and effort loses direction. A simple weekly or monthly review brings you back to the plan and reminds you why you started. Awareness is the first step to improvement. Review also builds confidence. When you look back and see even small progress, it reinforces belief. Growth is often invisible in the short term, but it becomes clear when you measure it. You may not be where you want to be yet, but you are no longer where you started. That awareness fuels persistence. Confidence grows when you recognize progress, not just perfection. Adjustment is equally important. Many people fail because they cling to a plan that is not working. A plan is meant to serve you, not control you. Adjusting your approach does not mean you are weak, it means you are wise. If a habit is unrealistic, refine it. If a strategy is ineffective, replace it. Flexibility keeps momentum alive. The goal remains the same, but the path may change. Staying committed means understanding that motivation is temporary, but commitment is a decision. There will be days when excitement fades and discipline feels heavy. Those days are not a sign to stop. They are a sign that your commitment is being tested. Commitment is what carries you through boredom, doubt, and resistance. It is the ability to say, I will continue, even when it's uncomfortable. Another part of commitment is patience. Results often lag behind effort. Seeds do not grow the day after you plant them. Over 6 months, there will be times when it feels like nothing is happening. In reality, progress is taking place beneath the surface. Character is being built, habits are forming, and skills are sharpening. Those unseen changes eventually produce visible results. Review and adjustment also help you avoid extremes. Without review, people either push too hard and burn out or relax too much and stall. Reflection helps you find balance. It allows you to push when necessary and rest when needed. Sustainable success requires rhythm, not constant pressure. Commitment also means learning to separate identity from results. A bad week does not make you a failure. A missed habit does not erase progress. When you see setbacks as feedback rather than judgment, you recover faster. Growth-minded individuals do not ask, why did I fail? They ask, what can I learn and improve? That question keeps them moving forward. Over 6 months, the combination of review, adjustment, and commitment creates resilience. You stop being fragile when things go wrong and start becoming adaptable. Adaptability is one of the greatest advantages in life. Those who succeed long-term are not the most talented or the most motivated. They are the most consistent and flexible. When you commit to reviewing your progress, adjusting your methods, and staying the course, you remove quitting as an option. You stop relying on feelings and start relying on principles. And when principles guide your actions, success becomes not a matter of chance, but a matter of time.